Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode of Eve Echoes. I'm GicaForta, your host today and always. And as promised, we are going to continue with the pirate faction ship tree reviews, and we're going to look at the ship themselves and talk about the preferred weaponry, preferred tank, strategies, and of course the skills associated with the ships themselves and the actual roles that the ships may behave into. Now, of course, we've already covered the Sanchez Nations and Garissa Pirates. You've all seen what those are capable of. Before we get into our subject, please remember to like and subscribe if you find this content to your liking, and if you want to help me keep this channel alive and support me through donations, there's a YouTube channel membership, there's a join button, also a link below. You can donate a small sum as small as $2. Thank you very much. So now let's get on with our stuff, because we've already talked about last episode, pirate factions are actually very important because they have some peculiar and interesting ships nonetheless that you can benefit from the bonuses and do all sorts of crazy stuff with them. And let's get on to the Serpentis Corporation. Now, the Serpentis is a sort of like a splinter cell that ruptured from the Galente ideology, and both the Serpentis and the Angel Cartel focus entirely on brawling capabilities. They are ruthless in terms, the ships themselves are also ruthless in terms of DPS. Probably the same as, let's say, the Garissas, but the Garissas ships are mostly drone boats. But nonetheless, these will drive your enemies insane if you fly this one of these into the battlefield. So let's get on with the things here. We've got the Daredevil. Now, the Daredevil, I don't know if there's a description properly. Yeah, there it is. Little to no data can be found on the Daredevil's exact origin, but it is believed that Guardian Angel engineers created it to serve as a defensive complement to the cartel Dramiel frigate. Now, the thing with the Daredevil is that in the backstory, it has some Jovian technology in it. I know we don't have Jovians, we don't even have stories about Jovians in Eve Echoes, but we'll probably do some content on the lore. Sovereign RPG has already did a series on the lore, but maybe we can expand and go a bit deeper and dive into the actual context of how humanity got to New Eden. But that's for a different story. So Daredevil, frigate. The frigate size ship for the Serpentis Corporation. We've got advanced small railgun operation bonus per level, 20% small railgun damage, and 10% small railgun accuracy fall off. So you get a decent increase in fall off range, and we've got the good, actually very good damage boost. If you sum it up in level 5, you get 100% railgun damage, meaning it's just like another turret. The ship itself has 3 high slots, 3 med slots, and 3 low slots. So for low slots, you might just go with propulsion because you need the speed. This ship is excellent at speed tanking. It's a nano ship, if you want to call it. We don't have nanofibers in the game, in Eve Echoes, but you can pull off speed tanking quite easily. And for advanced frigate command bonus per level, you get 10% stasis webfire strength and stasis webfire optimal range. This is a brawling ship, but it also can be used as a kiter. With the stasis web bonuses, you can actually hold somebody at range while you pummel it with rail guns. The long range rail guns that have like 9 kilometers, 10 kilometers, so you can stay out of your opponent's range and deal massive amount of damage. So that's pretty much it. The preferred tank, we can see it right here down below, it's armor. But for the Daredevil, you can actually go with some shield tanks, Although the Daredevil is quite a tad different than Eve Online, it is recommended to go with armor because there's the armor hit points that are better than the shield hit points. The Eve Online Daredevil is shield tank, just like the Dramiel. So armor, you should focus this on armor, but don't fit any plates that might reduce your speed because you need the speed. The Serpentis ships combine the Minmatar flying speeds with the Galente damage. So that's pretty much it about the Daredevil. Moving on to the cruiser-sized vessel of the Serpentis, we've got the Vigilant, and this is like a top brawler. 10% medium railgun damage, advanced medium railgun operation per level, and 10% medium railgun accuracy fall-off, 10% stasis web range, 10% web fire optimal range, and 10% warp disruptor optimal range. This is a new bonus that we see in this line of ships, meaning you can warp scramble somebody from a higher, an increased distance than normal ships of this size would do. Or actually, not the size, it's the module itself that has a like 24, if I'm not mistaken, kilometers optimal range. Out of that range, and the warp scramble is, or the warp disruptor is gone. You don't have point on your enemy, so you can kite outside of that range and avoid being disrupted yourself while dealing massive amounts of damage. It has 5 high slots for railguns, 1 drone hit point, and 3 meds and 5 lows. An excellent tank and quite a lot of damage if you compare it with other ships like the Thorax. Thorax only has, I think the Navy issue, the Thorax Federation issue has 5. I'll have to get back on that. We'll compare ships in another video, but the preferred tank is armor. Just as you can see it, almost 6,000 armor hit points, good resistances. By the way, the faction ships have better resistances than the standard Empire ships. So they're much more easy to fit them with a decent tank and focus your slots on those juicy numbers for damage. And moving on to the Vindicator, which is the battleship for the Serpentis Corporation. We've got 2 drones, 8 high slots you can fit your weapons onto, 4 mid slots and 6 low slots. Good and powerful tank you can pull off with those 6 low slots, but the damage here is outstanding with the 8 high slots. 10% large railgun damage per advanced large railgun operation level, and 7.5% large railgun tracking speed. Remember, large turrets have poor tracking speed, so you want to have that, otherwise through tracking computers or by default from the ship's bonuses. Advanced Battleship Command bonus per level gives you 10% stasis webfire strength, meaning it slows down things a lot harder than normal ships using stasis web. Stasis web, I don't know, I think it reduces by a factor of 50%. So I think it cuts like 50% of the targeted ship's speed, but with the 10% strength per level, you can get another 50%, meaning you can get to 100%, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to check with the stasis web and see the exact percentage for that. You can keep something in place like it's not going to move, and given the fact that you have large guns and the tracking is barely needed on stationary targets, you inflict maximum damage in your optimal. So yeah, that's it. That is good bonus. And 10% warp disruptor optimal range. Again, you can warp disrupt something or someone a lot farther away than other people might normally do so. Again, with the tank, we have the definitive numbers on armor. This is pretty obvious that you go with an armor tank, and it's pretty fun to do it. We got 50% for EM, and that's just standard. But I think 10% explosive resistance. I don't think most of the ships have 0 resistances by default on armor. So again, faction ships have some natural resistances that can help you with tanking a lot easier. So that's pretty much about the Serpentis Corporation, and these ships are ruthless in terms of DPS and what they can do on the field, especially in 1v1 situations. Now, if you're locked into a 1v1 with the Daredevil, you're kind of pooped. You're bye-bye. There's no way out. Of course, if you're in a frigate, if you're something a lot bigger, then if you have drones, maybe you can get rid of it. But in terms of the Vigilant, that's a whole different level. It just obliterates cruisers, other cruisers of its same class, basically. And the battleships, I've seen fleets in EVE Online with Vindicators. Those things are basically unstoppable. Well, of course, if just some weird pipe bomb happens, but we don't have pipe bombs in EVE Echoes yet. We don't know if smart bombs are ever going to be a module in here. Well, I guess we'll see. So let's move on to the... Oops, I have closed the ship tree. I'm a noob. I forgot to click this left button. Moving on to the Angel Cartel. The Angel Cartel is a faction that splintered off from the Mmorpg, and the designs are very sleek. The ships themselves look very, very nice, and there's also, again, more influence from Jovian designs. They look pretty neat, but in terms of capabilities and what they can do, they are amazing. So, just as the Mmorpg, because they can shift between shield and armor, they don't care which they can fit. It depends on, it's situational, depends on what exactly is the direction you want to fit the ship in. So, just like the Mmorpg, the Angel Cartel does not have a preferred tank, meaning all the ships here can either go with shield tanking or armor tanking. So it depends also on your skills and what you've invested, but it's pretty standard. You can pick one and go with it. There's no requirement like I need to have shield skills to fly these ships. No. Okay. Preferred weaponry, that's the same as the Mmorpg people. They use autocannons, which is projectile weapons, and they use guns, cannons. So let's take a look at the first ship in this line, which is the Dramiel. Look at that. Can we see it? Can we see it? The Dramiel is beautiful. I may have my details low because I'm running a low on battery right now, but the Dramiel is one of the best looking badass scary ships that you can see in this game. The Dramiel, let me click this again, has roll bonus 50% warp speed. It's one of the fastest warping frigates in the game. It can, if the Dramiel and one other frigate, I think it can match, it can go on par with interceptors. I'm not sure about that, but it may be the case. So let's take, for example, 2 frigates, one of which is the Dramiel and the other is like say a Condor. They both warp to the same destination at the same time. The Dramiel will probably arrive sooner, meaning in terms of catching up, this is very important because the Dramiel can catch up, go ahead, and catch you when you land. That's important. So if you're trying to run away from a Dramiel by warping to a planet, remember this: the Dramiel will reach that destination first, and when you land, you'll just get pointed, most likely, and either it will take care of you, or his bodies, or the rest of the fleet, or whatever, will just come down there and show you their muscle flexes. So 50% bonus warp speed as a roll bonus, 50% warp acceleration, again accelerates faster when in warp, and we've got 5 seconds damage control activation time. This is the tank. So what, if you guys don't know what damage control does, it's a module, gets fitted on the low slots, and you can only fit like one. It's recommended to have just one to it's weird. So it provides immense bonuses to resistances for hull, for structure that is, decent bonuses on armor, and decent bonuses for shield. So it's an excellent item for survivability, especially if you're doing solo PvP against multiple targets. This might be helpful. Advanced small cannon operation bonus per level, 10% small cannon damage and minus 5% small cannon activation time. So you get at least, for level 5, you get at least a 50% bonus damage increase, and thanks to the minus 5% activation time, your weapons cycle faster, which actually directly affects the DPS output. You gain a much more DPS than with the just with the standard small cannon damage. So you can consider it some bonus damage, but it's just the cycling of weapons. Advanced frigate command bonus per level, you get 7.5% small cannon tracking speed to track stuff going fast, and 10% small cannon accuracy fall off. Again, just like the Minmatar, actually the weapons preferred by the Minmatar, the cannons, they have optimal range similar to the short range. I'm talking about the short range ones, to the short range railguns, but the accuracy fall off on these cannons is greatly increased, meaning you can kite and still do at a considerable distance, further away than the optimal range, and still do considerable amounts of damage, while I'm guessing trying to avoid incoming fire. That's why you kite in the first place, at a range that is outside of your enemy's optimals. For example, if a ship flying autocannons would meet with a ship flying railguns, then the ship flying autocannons will have an advantage in kiting if the speed allows it to, because the autocannon guns will be able to shoot at a much better distance than the railguns themselves. That's pretty much it. Let's take a look at the defensive capabilities. As you can see, the armor and shield are basically the same. The only problem is with the shield, you get 0% resistance EM, while on armor you have a natural resistance of 10% on explosives. So that's pretty much it. Let's move over to the cruiser-sized vessel of the Angel Cartel. This is another beautiful ship that I like very, very much. We'll take a look at it after we review it. So we've got roll bonus 50% warp speed, just the same as the Dramiel, 50% acceleration, and 5-second plus. And damage control activation time, it lasts longer, so you don't eat up the entire capacitor. 5% medium cannon damage and minus 5% medium cannon activation time. Again, both factor in and improve your DPS output. 7.5% medium cannon tracking speed and 7.5 medium cannon accuracy follow for advanced cruiser command bonus. The bonuses kind of carry over. They're pretty much the same bonuses that we'll see for all the ships. The only interesting thing to see here is this is a cruiser-sized vessel, and the DPS is a lot higher than other ships in its same class from the standard empires. We've got 5 high slots, 3 med slots and 5 low slots. Good tank, good propulsion. You can fit some cool stuff in there, and of course the damage is great. Considering you have 5% medium cannon damage, you won't get the same boost percentage as in the Dramiel, but it's still there. So you get 25% bonus with the advanced medium cannon operation level 5. Of course, you also get the bonuses from the skill itself, which is another thing that counts in. But nonetheless, you also have a drone. This is a nasty, nasty cruiser that can make good riddance of you and your ship and your pod, and your corpse just probably will end up in the player's cargo hold. So beware of the signable. Yeah, I think I spelled that correctly. Signable. Moving on, actually, I promise you guys will see the signable. Look at it. Some people would argue that it looks like a flying turd. I beg to differ. It's very cool, and the symmetry and where the engines are placed, it looks just similar to a scarab, I think, in my vision, but it's nonetheless looking familiar. It looks just like, at least a bit, with the Xian Yue, the Yangjung destroyer. So yeah, there might have been some inspiration here. Moving on to the battleship of the Angel Cartel, the Macario. The Macario is a monster. 8 high slots, 4 mid slots, and 6 low slots. Pretty much the same as the Vindicator, which was the Serpentis. And two drone hit points, hard points, sorry. This ship can do quite a lot of damage. It has an excellent speed. Sometimes it can behave like a cruiser if you fit it correctly with prop mods and rigs and stuff like that. So it can catch things fast. It's a battleship, but you'd be amazed of its agility. So 50% warp speed, just like the other ships in this line of ships. 50% warp acceleration, 5 seconds damage control activation time, and large cannon damage and large cannon activation time. The bonus numbers are pretty much the same as the signable, and the tracking speed and accuracy fall off. So the flight velocity is 139. But you can go fast. Let's take a look at the trait description. Let's take a look at the inertia modifier, 0.096 times, and let's compare it. Also, the Vindicator is fast, so let's compare it to the 0.096. Okay, let's compare it to the Megathron. The Megathron has 0.114, so that's like a factor of 0.02, which is important. You don't toy around with inertia. Inertia basically tells the ship how fast it can switch directions, or how fast it can align from standing still to going into said direction, and it actually it tells you also the acceleration level. So if you've got high inertia, then you accelerate slower because the ship mass is pulling you behind, just like in a car when you're trying to push the pedal to the floor. You got lower inertia, then you push the pedal to the floor, you don't even do a burnout, you just whoop in that direction, just like that. So that's pretty much it on the Angel Cartel and Serpentis ship trees. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll touch on some more faction ships in the next episode. Thank you guys for watching. A very, very big shout out to my channel supporters. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.